Welcome everyone back to the Marvel Snapcast podcast. I'm your host Ken, aka the Super Tech Guy, the gentleman with every variant in the game.
Every variant?
Every variant. Of course, I'm here with the one and only, the brainiac of the crew. As always, it's Guess Gaming. What's up, my guy? How are you?
I'm feeling much better now. Much
Okay.
better. It's been a head down kind of a day working behind the scenes on the production for the Golden Gauntlet this weekend, and a lot of cool little things being added to just, slowly zhuzh up the production to the next level, the cleanliness, the quality. Nothing too crazy, but just enough to give an upgraded experience, and I'll let the stream speak for the rest of itself. So
Love to hear
I'm happy
that.
to be here and have it done.
That's all that matters, right? Could you imagine you didn't have it done and we're doing this? You'd be sitting in the back of your mind like, we gotta hurry up, Tech, hurry up, Tech, hurry up. So I'm
What do you
glad
think of this
got it
card?
done.
Yeah, it's good. All right, moving on. Come on.
Next. I mean, shit, we got a ton of cards to talk about. It might be that type of night, but nonetheless, carrying on to the next set of cards this week. We have 5 cards, not by accident. 5 cards when 100% were planned to be released. And all right, so we're kicking things off with Galactus. All right, so we're going to pull, in fact, let's pull up the whole season on the screen first so everybody can see exactly what we're talking about. And I mean, listen, I heard the rumors. People were like, hey, there's 5 cards. I'm like, no way. Yes way. So we are in the Herald of Galactus season. Cool card back. Cool card. Kick things off. We spoke about Galactus last week. We kind of gave it a good, or I gave it a nice high rating. I thought it was going to be super fun. I was just mad that, it's going to be infinite every time it gets played. And it still looks like it does. Nonetheless, it being able to get +2 power at the end of each turn while your Herald is winning that lane. And we did get it cleared up that it is the card that you play, not your opponents, even though I think the opponents one would have been kind of fun, though, guess. I'm not going to lie to you. Nonetheless, I've had some fun with this card. I think it's a better Red Hulk. And I think those lists that you want to play it in, you kind of have to think that same way, right? Whether you're going to play Red Hulk to get it on the field or maybe Dracula to take its power, I think that's the kind of way you want to go. Just having this card sit there and wait to drop on turn 6 as your only card played is kind of rough. I do wish this card was at least a 5 cost. Nonetheless, for me, giving it my rating, I'm going to go ahead with and say it's a double gold.
Surprised you went double gold for, I don't know if it's just because of your love for Infinite and you don't want anything to infringe on it, or like, it's, look, I said coming into this week that it was just going to be a really good, beefy, big 6-drop. It's evolved Hulk without the evolution. It's Rulk with another step, or it's just played like a Gore. And that's exactly what it is. I mean, there's only so many different ways that you can take a big card and play it,
Right.
I tried it in Black Knight decks. I tried it in a variety of different just big card go here now style decks. But my favorite build that I saw with it was actually not mine. It was an opponent. And it seems so simple thinking about it retrospectively that, like, man, why didn't I think of that? Which is move. Because move loves to have that do you Heimdall or do you not strategy, especially in conquest mode or tournament mode. And having a move deck where a Herald could be a dagger, a vulture, a human torch, and constantly moving, constantly scaling, and because of that, regularly winning the lane that the Herald is in, no matter what lane it moves to, it's a very strong deck, because then that's better than playing the Magneto in that position. A lot of people used to play Eliath in that position. It's either, am I going to Eliath or am I going to Heimdall? And in my opinion, this is better than Eliath in that deck. I thought that was a really genius way to play against it, and I just sat there afterwards going, man, I wish I thought of that first, because it just makes total sense. And that's how you should really look at this kind of card. Is I think move elements are what make this card shine, the ability of really utilizing the Herald to its maximum potential to keep it consistent. Because if you can keep it consistent, it's better than Red Hulk. If you can't keep it consistent, it's honestly worse, because Red Hulk sits in your hand and gets +3/+3. So it only takes 2 turns to get to 16. Same here. This takes 2 turns to get to 16, but it's a whole different mini game that you have to play to get it to happen. And even though that's more in your control, Red Hulk seemed regularly to want to go higher than First Steps Galactus felt. At least that's how it felt to me.
That's fair.
If this was a lower cost, I don't think it would just be. I don't think it would be on par with the brand of Galactus. You know, you want big Galactus, big 7-drop thing.
Sound effects are great. So
yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's a cool card, cool VFX, like just big thud. You know, it's what you want it to be, but it's just a big beefy body, and it has a couple of okay homes, but this is a meta that loves combos. This is a meta that wants multiple cards and control cards. This isn't a Surtur meta. So for that same reason, I'm in the double gold-ish area, but I think that's mainly because of the meta that we're in. Otherwise, this is a very solid 6-drop, platinum style card. I just don't think that there's anything that they could actually do to it to make it better, because even one dial of 1 point of power in the right place, it just becomes too good because of 1 point of power difference up, whether it's the +2 to +3 or even 612 starting at 613. Then it's better than all of the others.
Right. So, correct. I was going with the making it 1 less cost, which would have been broken. But again, I'm just thinking in that realm. That would have made it a way better card. But nonetheless, I totally agree with you. Like I said, I think Red Wing decks so far I've had fun with it the most.
Yeah.
Dracula decks, right? Not playing the card, let it sit in my hand. So I totally agree. Yeah. What are you thinking about?
I wonder, is this another situation where the card would be better at 7 cost, where you're looking to have to get the big body? Like, make this a 715 with +2. Because then not only is it scaling to crazy numbers in your hand, there are a multitude of different ways to get extra energy and a multitude of different ways to control the board to ramp this thing out, blink mechanics and those kind of shenanigans. I think like that maybe would be a better way to want to play this card, because in the 6-drop, it competes with too many other similar things.
100% it does. Exactly. That is the big issue. But then now you're forcing people to have to try to get this out early. I mean, either way, we'll see what it does. We'll see if the meta shifts and if it becomes better or worse, or if they make a change to it. But nonetheless, double gold, I'm with you 1,000%. Then next, of course, we had a super premium pass, super premium pass with it, and that is the Silver Surfer First Steps. Now, this card, as you guys can see here, the way she works, if you guys haven't seen the movie yet, is at the end of turn, if you're winning this location with a on-reveal card, copy its text. So I did play her in a Surfer deck, super fun. I did play her in a deck with First Steps Galactus that had things like the Guardians of Galaxy. So I used to call it the Guardians of Galactus, right? Where if you're winning that lane with whatever at that moment, right, you could play her and she can double that on-reveal and get that extra buff, etc. So it was super fun playing in both those decks, both the Silver Surfer and the Guardians of the Heralds, or whatever I want to call it. But to me, again, this card is going to sit in the gold for me. I think there's better cards in a Surfer deck you'd rather play than her. I think Prodigy is better all around than her. So for me, and of course with Prodigy, you get to pick what card you want to copy. It doesn't have to be an on-reveal. So for me, this card is definitely a gold card. I think it's good. I think the stats is great, 3-4. If it was a 3-3, it would have been bad. And if it was a 4 cost, it would have been horrible. So 3-4, good stats. But right now, as you mentioned, I get it. We're trying to push the end of turn meta out there, but there is way more end of turn cards and decks, builds that I think is better than this card. So for me, this card gets a gold.
It's a card we just haven't broken yet. Not because it's bad, though. I think that this is someone's waiting to break this card. Like, everyone wants this card to be good, and it's right on the cusp. Everyone's trying different cheeky synergies. Like, I realized I was going about the card wrong once I started playing it, because I realized the power of dropping it down on turn 3 and then playing the on reveal later because of the end of turn effect. Right. That ended up being a much more consistent strategy with it. In the world of, like, I tried it in Surfer. I tried it in, like, the Splat, TLSG, you know, that Sarah Blink Onslaught style Surfer deck, where you just want to throw all of the 3 drops down on the final turn. Yeah. And in that instance, it was good because then it's copying things like Sage and Hitmonkey and another Surfer. And yeah, it took me a couple of games to get into the rhythm of not treating it like Absorbing Man, in the sense of, oh, I'm just playing it in this lane. It'll do the on reveal effect. Oh, wait, why didn't she do the effect? Oh, yeah, I didn't win the lane.
Yeah.
And the winning of the lane is what I think is causing this card to have the struggles that it's having.
Yep.
I think that at a 3-5, this is a 10 times better card. And I would be surprised if they made it a 3-5 in the future. But I do think that this is a card that wants to be really good. Like, for a Series 4, flexible, it desperately wants to be really, really good. I tried it in a mill deck. I thought that was actually surprisingly good. You know, put down the Baron Zemo, and it's an easy lane to win. A Gladiator lane is an easy lane to win. Even if you really want to, like, because it was the mill Ronin list variation with Fenris Wolf and Misery, and I think that's the reason that people are actually mixed on this card, because they want to play it in the meta counter, which is anything running Supergiant, and the best decks running Supergiant are running the whole Hood Misery package right now too. So it's slightly contradictory, because you want to win the lane, but one of the lanes has a -3 power card in it. You're like, well, damn it. Like, now what?
Exactly.
You really got to work hard to win a different lane, or get rid of it super fast and play it later. And it's awkward in that shell. Discard, I thought, was one of its better homes. I really enjoyed it in Discard. I liked it as a better replacement than Grandmaster, than Arnim Zola. I put it on par with Frigga, probably better than Prodigy, because it's a good card to toss away if you don't need it. But more importantly, it allows you the chance to make up for lost time, because you put it down on turn 3, and then later you finally drew the Gambit, or you drew the MODOK, and you got the double proc to happen, because you could win that lane, because it took over a lot easier. It's a much more difficult card than I expected it to be. And I think we're close to breaking this card. I think someone's going to, and then everybody's going to want it. But for now, it's a gold.
Yep, in the same boat.
Just ask me again in 2 weeks. Ask me again in 2 weeks.
We're going to see, man, because I'm with you. Trying different things. It's just, she's end of turn, so you're trying to get the end of turn thing. I don't know. We'll see. I agree with you. Somebody's going to break it, and then we'll find out. Maybe somebody breaks it at the Golden Gauntlet. Who knows? And then, of course, we go on to our next set of cards, because, again, guys, there's 5 cards this week, which I'm not mad at. I mean, we'll dive into that shortly. Nonetheless, we have the one and only Stardust. Now, Stardust is a 4/7, great stats. Ongoing, cards cannot be added to the locations except by playing or moving them. So as guest mentioned before, that move deck with Galactus is pretty fun. Nonetheless, this card, I mean, is a straight counter to cards like Ghost Rider and Hela, right? Because bringing the cards back, you can't do it because this card says no, no, no. Be honest with you guys, I haven't even played this card. I got the variants, haven't played it. So for me, I'm just going to say, based on the stats alone and the ability that it has and the niche that is only good against those type of decks where you're trying to bring back cards or play cards a different way, I'm going to give this a double silver. That's what I have to do. Only based on the stats, I think.
Wow.
Based on the stats alone. Because, I mean, we're not in a hella meta. We're not in a play cards in a different location, like bring them back with Ghost Rider meta. So for me, if I see a Stardust being played, the decks that I play, I'm not even concerned. Now, I want to hear what Guest has to say, because maybe he's going to tell me, well, Ken, with that deck, it can't do this. But as of right now, I think it's great against Hela, Ghost Rider, and that's really it. So, Guess, your take, man.
Yeah, I think you're missing the target here.
Yeah, please.
First off, a lot of people have been playing Ghost Rider this week because they're testing out Redshift. And we see a lot of Redshift, discard, Agatha kind of shenanigans, who we'll talk about in a bit. So in that sense, I disagree with you about Ghost Rider.
Okay.
But more importantly than Ghost Rider, Fenris Wolf is an incredibly relevant card right now.
Yeah,
very, very powerful card. The slop decks of double, ramp up a bunch of power onto your Mr. Sinisters and your Broods and drop them on the final turn. We're seeing that a whole bunch right now. Doom 2099 made a small comeback. Not anymore. And that by the time you hear this podcast on Friday, August 8th, we now also know, as of just before the start of this recording, that a release was put out by Marvel Snap that fixed the game-breaking crash that was happening with Stardust and Mysterio. And a lot of people were not playing Stardust because they specifically wanted to play it with a Mysterio-style build. And we didn't see it a hell of a lot on ladder because of it. I think that Stardust is going to be a late bloomer because a lot of people weren't testing it right off the bat because they went to test it in their game crash, or they heard that somebody, went to go play it and then their game crashed. I think that this is going to be a card that finds its meta over the weekend.
Okay.
And I don't have a rating for this card for that exact reason. I don't think that we've had a proper chance to evaluate a meta where this card exists. So I can't say that, I'm going to say it's a gold. I just don't think we have the information yet. And because of that, it's like, to be continued?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Like I said, that's why I said double silver. I haven't played the card, so I'm just going based off of stats and what I think it goes up good against. And I forgot all about those other cards, Fenris and all those Broods. Absolutely right. So I guess you're right. We're going to remove all ratings from this card until next week, because we have more cards to talk about anyway. So let's go on to the next card, and that is the one and only.
Those are later in the scene. Let's talk about Redshift.
What the heck?
Scroll down.
Okay.
Scroll down.
Where the heck?
There.
Oh, so interesting. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about Redshift, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Redshift is an honor reveal. Discard the leftmost card in your hand to add a random card with the same cost to your hand. So, yes, when you first read this, we first saw it, everybody said Agatha. White Wayne Brady, as you guys know, love Agatha, sent me an Agatha deck, was working pretty well. Like it, super fun. I then went and switched gears and kind of played the Galactus build with Redshift, because I was thinking about that last turn. If I could play Redshift and Ghost Rider on the last turn, it kind of give me that classic Lady Sif Ghost Rider shenanigans we used to do back in the beta days with Infinite, and I was having a good time. I was winning matches because of that, right? It's a 2-3, good stats, and then you have Ghost Rider bringing back a big, strong card. Redshift is great for discard. Of course, people just playing him in Hela, but nonetheless, having a card on the left you can kind of control by playing the card in front of it, right? So I think it works out well, and that's why I like this card a lot. And I'm going to have to give this a double platinum. How about you, Guess? How do you feel?
I think this card is going to pose a lot of problems because of the Agatha interaction. One of the scarier things that this card does is make Agatha good.
Yep.
And when Agatha is good, we end up in a very dangerous place. Not because it's like the randomness is thriving like an Arishem style meta, but because this is the only card that allows us one step closer to Old America Chavez, where Old America Chavez, was a deck thinner. It allowed you
Right.
to draw from the other 11 cards exclusively for the first 5 turns.
Right.
Redshift in an Agatha package does basically the same thing, because Agatha's the 5th card in your hand. So it's guaranteed already in your hand, and you're still now playing with the other 11 cards. So I think there's a world, and I agree with our caster friend, Perry Manilow with this one. I think that the Redshift Agatha package starts to become a real thing for the very near future. I think that there's a world where we see Black Knight, Redshift, Lady Sif, Agatha as a package that you then build, and
Around
then
it.
from there you have 4, 5, and other 3s, 4s, and 5s that are exclusively the rest of your deck, no other 6 costs, and that is now a deck thinning deck. That is a fast deck. It is a powerful deck.
It's
Redshift allows that to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know when to snap deck. And that's when this becomes dangerous, because you have a major mathematical advantage over most of your opponents, because you're playing with a smaller percentage of cards and you have higher chances to do the things that you want it to do. So if you fill it with 2-card combos, Black Bolt Stature, for example, throw the Ghost Rider in there with another another yo-yo mechanic and call it a day. There's a lot of things that this is going to open up more than I think the other cards do, because it's the only interaction that really truly matters. You could throw it into a Hela deck and it'll, you could play Agatha Hela, discard the Agatha, put a different 6 cost in your hand as a backup plan. Sure, go for it. I was doing Victoria Hand Quicksilver things, because Quicksilver ends up in the same position. Discard that, get a card that I can beef up with Victoria Hand now instead. And that was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but, it was a cheeky option to work with.
Right.
But the Agatha thing is something to actually keep an eye on, because Redshift could get Agatha nerfed similar to Thanos, where it no longer starts in the left position all the time, but you draw it guaranteed every time.
Right.
I would not be surprised if that happens.
It's weird because I guess, is it a problem? It's only an issue if it's consistent. And I ain't gonna lie to you, it was consistent. Black Knight on 1, Redshift on 2, 14 Power Blade in my hand, some other 6 cost card in my hand, do whatever I want with the rest of the card. Hey, you know what, chat? It is what it is. We'll find out later in the couple coming weeks, right? Next, we have Teryx, a.k.a. Darkside, the Tamer. And this is, of course, on reveal for the location. Shuffle a rock into the losing player's deck. So this card is single-handedly bringing back the Darkhawks, as I've heard. I have not played this card either. So I'm not going to give it a rating, but based on what I see here, being able to throw rocks in your opponent's deck, fill their hand up with crap, as always, additional fun time to rock slide and Korg, helping out the wonderful Darkhawk. I think that's a very good thing. So for me, I'm gonna leave it at what it is right now. I feel this card is like a gold or a double gold. Guess, how do you feel about Teryx, the Tamer?
This might be, on release, my favorite of the 5. And I never expected it to be.
Excuse me. So one more time. I don't think I heard you. Let me put say it one more time. What?
The ability to enable the Darkhawk deck package back to its original state with 3 cost rock slide, essentially, is much more powerful than you realize, and yet alone could be building a version that's actually more powerful. This is a very good card for that package, and wants to be a very good card, because we've seen metas where Mill exists and then Darkhawk disappears for a little while. And this is no longer an Airship meta where, by default, without even trying, you didn't have to run Rock Slide. You just threw a Korg in there and said, all right, I'll just wait it out. This now brings back that 3-card package, and it's one of the stronger 3-card packages in the game because it's so flexible and is a 5-cost big winner. And now that 5-cost winner can actually scale even higher than it did beforehand, because you could potentially win all 3 locations at the time in which Terrax flips, because you don't have to be winning by the end of the turn.
No.
You just have to be winning the lanes in the moment in which he flips. And with just a little bit of patience and a little bit of strategy, this is a 10 times better card than Rock Slide, and really enables that. I mean, I was doing Darkhawk Bounce. I was doing OG style Darkhawk stuff, you know, like with just load up a ridiculous amount of rocks in there at the same time, because I'm throwing down the core, excuse me, I'm throwing down the Korg and just waiting to see what else I can scale on top of it, because I'm like, do I want to play the Terrax now? No, I can wait for the Terrax on 6, then get the flips to happen and all that chaos, because, you know, I'm trying to stack up with the Black Widow and then mix it in with a Ronin package at the same time. And there were so many different variations of what I wanted to do with the Darkhawk package, except for the Misery Hood stuff, for the exact reasons I talked about earlier too, where Hood basically loses you a lane bright and early, and then, well, now you're forcing a rock into your deck. If you get 2 out of 3, this deck hits its value. Like this card, hits its value.
Yeah, I think yes. Awesome. I'm thinking Invisible Woman shenanigans, Super Giant shenanigans, Wong, or even Grandmaster shenanigans. Like this, you just blew my mind here. Okay, all right. Well, you're right. This is probably one of the best cards. You're right. Continue.
This card is right now the most under-respected platinum we've had.
That is fair. That is totally fair. I haven't played it yet, and now I'm going to play it now.
Love it, man.
After this podcast, I am playing this offline, by the way, chat, offline. So I cannot wait to try this out and see what's going on. All right. So that wraps up this week of cards. We'll come back to, of course, Stardust now that it's working and it's ready to go, and to see what people bring to the table with it. But we're going to talk about next week's card, and that is the one and only Frankie Ray Nova. Now, Frankie Ray, of course, is after the next time you play a 6-cost card, double this card's power. When I read this card the first time, you know what I thought? I thought it doubled the 6-cost card power. And I was like, oh, infinite time, here we come. 40 power, one shot. I was so excited.
Words
and
are
they were
hard.
like, no, Tech, make sure you read, man. Make sure you read. It doubles this card's power. Okay. Great. Now, this card isn't bad either. I think this card's going to be super cool. Preview rating for it already, I'm going to say 110% platinum card. Why? Because I already played a kind of package I think she could fit perfectly in. I played a Surtur deck, Dirty 30, having Moon Girl, Infinite She-Hulk, and Magic to get that extra turn. So being able to drop at least 4 10-cost cards or 3 10-cost cards at the end of the game, and now with Frankie Ray being there and doubling her power, she kind of reminds me of a better Surtur or even a better Dakin at the end of the day. So if we can get her power to at least become extra, whether it be an extra 1 or 2 power, making her 2/4 and then doubling her power every time we drop those big cards, I think you get your worth out of her. Nonetheless, I'm definitely going to try this out. I'm definitely got to say this is a platinum card, and I was diving into the deck that I was playing, and guest told me to shut up, wait for the stream, so I'm here now. The deck that I'm playing currently, like I said, that got me to Infinite last season, was with Sunspot, Nebula, Mr. Fantastic, First Steps, Thunderbolt, Ross, Armor, Magic, Hope, Surtur, Shang-Chi, Moon Girl, She-Hulk, Infinite. So we're going to have to replace a card out of that package, and I don't want to replace her with Armor because I think Armor is needed, especially with these big cards being dropped and everybody's running Shang-Chi at this moment. But I could replace her with Mr. Fantastic, because I don't want to replace with Thunderbolt Ross, or maybe Thunderbolt Ross. We'll figure it out. We'll see what happens when she come out next week. But I'm already saying off the bat, she is definitely a platinum card. Guess, how do you feel about Frankie Ray?
I'm not as high on the card as you. I think it's it's a solid 2/6.
Okay.
If you play a 6-cost card in your deck, this makes sense. It's similar to, if you're playing Surtur, typically you're playing Enchantress. All right, it's safe to play a Lizard without any concerns because you're probably going to Enchantress that lane anyway, and 2/6 is good value, right? You're playing a Ronin deck. All right, 2/6 is good value because you want to clog the hand and you do it on the final turn. Okay, like it fits into the play style of playing 6-cost cards, which is the only thing that I think is really holding this card back, is the fact that you have to specifically play it. It's not the next time you have a 6-cost card on the board, you know, whether it be a monster or you ramped one out or you jubileed or transformed, or no, you have to physically play it. It's the playing Galactus First Steps, you know, I'm playing my big card now. That's all I can do. That's the only thing I'm doing. It's the only thing that matters. I'm just going.
Right.
So you're looking at your Thanos decks. You're looking at your, you know, your Hulk style decks. Yep. Mockingbird decks are going to love this card because it comes out cheaper. And you could probably play several of them in the deck, like Sasquatch Mockingbird is one of my favorite combinations. Right. So playing the Mysterio decks that run this too, okay, that helps to make up for some of the power that one of those Mysterio clones are in, you know, for that lane. It's an easier play. So I like what this card does for those decks in particular, but it's a lot smaller of a play than, like, a smaller amount of decks that are going to want to truly regularly play it versus the idea of, oh, this is just a good 2/6. Not really, because you have to actually still play the actual 6-cost card. You know, you can't Correct. BS your way around it. So for that reason, I think it's just, you know, it's like Galactus First Steps. It's a double gold because it'll do what you need it to do, but there are very few decks that can afford to take this card, put extra power on it, and play a 6-drop on turn 6, or, you know, maybe 5 if you have some energy ramp. Not many decks are ready to do that.
So what about hear me out? What about a Namora deck? Have this card in the lane. Namora does a thing on Wong. Odin is the last play, which is turn 6. This card scales really quickly in that lane by itself.
Not really. I mean, it still doubles.
Because Namora.
Oh wait, no, I see what you're saying. No, if you're playing playing Namora,
I mean, this
you're
card gets
scaling
a 2/5.
everything first, and then it doubles after the Odin.
Yeah.
Okay, so that, in that sense, that's a good home for it. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that one before. Either.
I mean, as far as buffing the card, like you said, it's gonna be tough to Ironheart, hope you hit it, or Nakia, right? Give it one extra, or even a Koye, or your best bet is playing American Chavez and hope you hit this card, right? But we also got to consider our girl Galacta, right? She hit this card. This card gets to that level and it doubles. Again, it's gonna be tricky because you, especially playing She-Hulk Infinite, you're gonna want to save turn 4 for Moon Girl. So it's weird, but nonetheless, we'll play it. We'll figure it out.
Wait, hang on though, because I think you're onto something with the Moon Girl She-Hulk thing. Yeah. But I don't know if the Infinite line is necessarily the line that you need to go with it.
No, just
like,
the
I think Infinite's the card you actually probably cut out of it. I think you just do Moon Girl She-Hulk with you do like that much smaller iteration, like a Quinjet style package, Juggernaut. You put some tech cards.
You keep Surtur in there too. Yeah.
I don't even know if you need to.
Well, you keep Surtur in one lane. Yeah, you're right. Probably right. You probably won't need Surtur. I think the 2 She-Hulk, some tech, and her will be totally fine. Because imagine if you could play 2 of her as well, right? 2 of her, 2 She-Hulks. I think you're sitting pretty.
That's really right. I mean, that's a very specific line. Moon Girl on 4. Both Frankie Rays down on 5, and then the She-Hulk on 6.
No, you skip 5. Now your She-Hulks are 1s, so 2 10s, and you have your 2 Frankies, right? So your Frankie's 4, and then the 2 that's 6. So now you're playing 4 cards on turn 6. The 2 Frankies first, and then the 2 She-Hulks. That would be your play line.
That's weaker than going Moon Girl, skip a turn, double She-Hulk Infinite. Like, why would you play that over the Infinite line?
Absolutely correct. I totally agree. Like I said, you're gonna have to try to buff this card. So Mr. Fantastic First Steps is gonna have to be in that deck, right? You're gonna have to try to buff this card by at least turn 4. So when you do play Moon Girl, this card gets the love, right? You're gonna have to try be, like I said, the Kia, or I don't think you could play. You can't play what's it called early than turn 4 unless you do some cheating out stuff. But yeah, what's up?
Didn't the old Moon, like the first year of Snap, didn't the old Moon Girl She-Hulk decks run Nakia?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to go that route, right?
Yeah, you have to go back to our roots with Moon Girl for this.
Yes, because you got to play something on 3 to buff that hand somehow. That hand
Yeah.
to buff her, and then Moon Girl. Because if she gets to a 5, I think you're sitting pretty at that point. Because the 2 She-Hulks will get her to 10 and then 20, right? So now you have 2 20s in a lane, and you got your 2 10s. So now you're not even dropping 30-30. You're dropping 30-40 right now, right? Because your 2 She-Hulks are 10, and these 2 become 22. No, what am I saying? I can't even count. This becomes 20. So does the other one. That's 40. She-Hulk 10, that's 50. It'd be a 60, 30-60 deck. Holy moly. If you get to pull that off, you got to get her to a 5 first. Nonetheless, we spent a lot of time on this card, so I'm pumped. I cannot wait for next week.
There's supposed options. To be going through There's options.
No, there is. And I think people like this anyway. They like to hear the different things. So
I'm scared to try to figure out 8 decks for it, though. My God.
Yeah. You put yourself in that hole, so you got to keep digging yourself out of that.
I'll keep digging it.
Because I saw your post with the 5 and the 8. I was like,
18
damn.
decks, man. Oh, it took 2 hours.
It's guess gaming, ladies and gentlemen. I was like, I couldn't even make one deck for none of those cards. That's the crazy part. Like, time was going away from me, and I'm like, you know what? We're not doing this, guys. We're not making any decks for this card. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the wonderful event happening this weekend. If you guys didn't know, I'm sure you know by now, the Golden Gauntlet Worlds Tournament kicks off this weekend, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, August, that number that guess is going to say.
9th.
Because my days are all
numbers are
messed
hard.
Up. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a crazy week. Nonetheless, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is going to be a fun time. And, of course, yours truly up top or down below, wherever the video puts them to the left or the right. It's Guest Gaming will be the host. And what that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that Guest's voice, his presence, will be there throughout the entire event. So all my It's Guest Gaming's fans, all the people on the guest list, rejoice. Your boy is going to be there all day and night. It's going to be a fun time. Cannot wait. But that also means Guest's going to need some love. He's going to need that energy. Give him your spirit bomb, because he's going to need to be up all those wonderful hours to make sure this event runs as smoothly as we know it will. Now, enough stroking Guest's ego. Pause. Let's talk about the event and what we expect to see. So as we mentioned before, this is a free event to sign up. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. All you do is sign up, get in there, and if you win, or if you make top 16 or you make the top cut, you get some prizes. But to do so, you have to bring something special to the event. Your deck has to be ready to go through war. I'm going to say pause one more time for all the people saying what I just said.
Yep.
So in this segment, we want to know what you think as well. But we're going to tell you guys the 4 cards we feel you need to bring and add to your deck. Now, you can keep the 8, whatever you want, but the 4 that we think you need to bring. And for that, since I've been doing a lot of talking in this segment, I'm going to let Guess kick it off first. Guess, what's your 4 cards that you would bring to the Golden Gauntlet Worlds?
All right. So with the evolution of, the last couple of days of seeing 5 cards drop and trying to figure out what direction's the meta going to shift. And it's one of the reasons we decided to do Golden Gauntlet in the beginning of the month, because we want to see metas defined because of a tournament right after a season reset. We learned that after Golden Gauntlet 1, timing was just not right for the season and that was happening, and it was at the end, and we want to really shape things. With that said, though, there's no reason for you to not just do what everybody currently does right now and run Juggernaut. There's no reason not to at this point. Whether you're a priority deck or not is irrelevant about when it flips or not. Just have it in there in some way, shape, or form. It is an incredibly strong card. A lot of these cards are starting to lean towards what we'll call the mini game meta. We see Iron Patriot. You're playing a mini game for that next turn, and you're trying to win it. The Herald now. That lane now is a lane to compete on. It's its own mini game. We're going to start to see this kind of stuff more and more and more, and there's more examples of this. When do you play Negasonic Teenage Warhead? That lane is a controlled mini game if you play it proactively. Now it's a game of, okay, what am I sacrificing to continue to play that card? In that lane. I think that Juggernaut does the exact same thing, and it's creating a mini game in conquest mode because your opponent constantly has to think of, are they dropping it now or not?
Juggernaut. Yes, yes, yes.
That's what it comes down to. Are they going to knock me out of this lane or not? That control is too valuable in this current meta. Play Juggernaut no matter what you do. I don't care if you run a Baron Mordo in your deck. Make sure you at least start with a Juggernaut. Because then you can make arguments everywhere else.
Oh, boy. Is Juggernaut going to get nerfed now? Because, holy crap. That's still the last card.
I honestly think he will. He's been deserving of it a long time to go down to a 3-2, maybe a 3-1, because of how strong his effect is.
Yeah, doesn't matter, priority or not. Okay, Juggernaut, great card. Should I go next?
Yeah,
should we go back and forth?
Give me one of yours.
All right, so you know the one I'm going to tell you right off the bat. Everybody knows this, and that's Shang-Chi, right? Power must be controlled, especially in the tournament. Power must be controlled. You need to bring the one on these Shang-Chi. So I totally agree with Guess with the Juggernaut. It's definitely a mini game, but with Shang-Chi, when your opponent knows Shang is in the deck, now they have to really think about when they're going to play their big cards. Should they play their big card now? Do they have anything to protect their big card? And they're really going to be relying on that RNG of the locations to be like, okay, here's a location that Armorvilles can't play. Here's a location that's Wakanda. Here's a location that, stops this. So Shang-Chi, I'm sure we're going to see in plenty of decks coming this weekend. But yeah, if you had to bring one of the cards out of your 4, Shang-Chi has to be that one. What is your next card, my friend?
Okay, so we live in a world where Invisible Woman First Steps exists and is incredibly difficult to combat against. It's very, because it's all of its interaction happens post, the final turn in the end of game phase. So even if you Shadow King or you try to Shang-Chi, chances are you're probably underneath that curve if you're playing that deck, and you're fine, and then just let it all happen on the final turn. The ability to control that deck in some manner is going to be incredibly important. Now, this does not mean you need to play Supergiant. I'll just preface that, because I think Supergiant's incredibly niche. I think it's good, but not all decks can afford to not have cards reveal on turn 5 to set them up. I think priority is a really important thing. But if you're going to try to compete against the Invisible Woman decks that a lot of people, to be honest here, you're going to see them in the tournament over the weekend.
Yep.
It's, in my opinion, probably going to be the most brought archetype / deck, if not the most played card. Top 5 probably. If you're going to try to compete with that, the only real way to compete with it is ramping bigger things out to have the chance of keeping up with the point power. That's what I think you have to do, because you can't tech against it the same way.
No. Right.
So for that reason, I think it's better to play Surge right now than Mr. Fantastic First Steps, because the energy reduction to get the bigger card out faster, plus putting extra power on it, doing that repeatedly and building a deck that Surge benefits for more than Mr. Fantastic First Steps, because they're played for very different reasons.
Correct.
I think that Surge is a very valuable card. Again, it was a top 5 card in GG2. I think it should be another top 5 card over Mr. Fantastic First Steps and any of the other, sprinkle cards, if you will. So I think Surge is a very important card to keep up.
Okay, that's fair. All right. My next card, of course, is the Infinite. No, I'm just messing with y'all.
I was waiting for whenever that was going to happen, man.
Come on now. My next card, if you got buff, I would have told you that. Seriously, my next card is going to be Red Guardian. To control those cards like Mrs. Fantastic First Steps and all those other cards are trying to set things up. If that card is in the lane by itself, or it's the low-cost card, of course, Red Guardian is going to be the perfect tech you need to kind of snipe those cards. And again, back to the minigame. Playing in a tournament setting is completely different from ladder, because the surprise is gone after those cards after at least the first couple of rounds, right? So knowing that your opponent has Red Guardian and having to worry about, okay, I got to make sure I play my cards behind this card and et cetera, et cetera. I think Red Guardian is a must-have when it comes to these tournaments because unlike Shang-Chi, which I still think you should have, at least Red Guardian turning off an opponent's card's ability and also giving it some negative power is pretty good. So for me, I got to go with Red Guardian for 110%.
I mean, if you're taking Red Guardian, you're drafting, if you will. You're drafting your basketball team at this point. You're going Red Guardian. He's tall, so I guess that works. Yeah. I'm gonna lean towards Negasonic Teenage Warhead then.
That's fair.
As a general tech card, not just in a package with Gladiator, Fenris, and all that. No, it doesn't need that. It is just it's a really good card because it forces your opponent to have to sacrifice and change their game plan, because they may have a very standard straightforward linear line of this is what I play here and now. I do this, I put this here and I win. And I let combo things happen. So if you snipe the combo because you're expecting it, or if you prevent the combo from happening because you're 2 turns ahead in your head versus them, I think that as a tech card, it's very strong right now. I think it doesn't have to be a turn 6 surprise. It can be a straightforward, I'm going to hold this lane until you decide to get rid of something, and waste your energy to be able to do that, just so you have a chance. So it's an energy control more than it is a point control. So I really like Negasonic Teenage Warhead right now.
All right. Listen, love the drafting. We love some 3-cost cards here, looks like. Juggernaut, Negasonic, and now, of course, Red Guardian. Okay, so my next card is going to be another 3-cost card, and that's Copycat. Being able to get some intel on getting some intel on your opponent's deck, being able to know, hey, that card is sitting at the bottom of their deck. We got the copy of it. Being able to copy something very good and powerful and surprising your opponent with it. I think Copycat is one of those cards that is needed when it comes in a tournament setting, because again, every time you pull Copycat, you're copying something that you need. You're copying something that your opponent may need, and it also gives you insight on where that card is in the deck. For example, you're going up against a Hela, and you copy their Hela. Well, now you're not worried. You're not too concerned about them sitting here discarding cards all the way to turn 6 because you got that Hela and you got the copy of Hela in your hand. Now, of course, if they have cards that can shuffle up their deck, that order can change. But at the end of the day, I like Copycat for that intel. Even though you're going up against somebody in a tournament, so by the 3rd round or so, you know what their cards are, but to be able to know where that card is in the deck, I think is huge, and that's why I'm going to say Copycat's one of my 4 cards.
All right.
One more to go. You got this.
Yeah, I know. It's really, really tough because I don't want to say another tech card.
Yeah, I know. Shadow King was there, so we're going to take Shadow King out of that. No more tech cards.
But I don't even think it needs to be Shadow King. Shadow King's actually weaker than I thought he would be in this meta because of all of this. I actually have a different direction on it because I'm going to take the lead of what Second Dinner wants us to do and say that it's what you should do. And that's play Mobius and Mobius. Because, look, they buffed him to remind you that he exists.
Yeah.
And we just spent an entire podcast talking about Moon Girl shenanigans.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to be considering it. We're seeing a lot of Sarah making a reappearance. We see the Ravona reductions. We see, energy ramp out is always going to be there in some way, whether it's like a Luna Snow or Psylocke or that kind of stuff. But the amount of reduction we're seeing right now is very high. Yeah. And if you can build a deck that supports dropping Mobius and Negasonic as a turn 3 and or a turn 3 play, that's a really strong controlled combo in just those 2 cards.
You're right.
I think that Mobius is underplayed right now, which is a little shocking, but I get it. I think it's going to be a very good card in the tournament setting in particular, because the second you get your matchup, if this card, because it's an open deck list,
Right.
full on if this card has tremendous value all the time, late game value all the time, or
Right.
0 value all the time. And Conquest is where this card will thrive, so I think it'll be very good this weekend.
No, I like it. I like it. Again, another 3-cost card. Jeez Louise, huh?
Yeah,
Listen,
it's tough
that's
to
the middle.
it's tough
It's
to
the middle play.
choose.
I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
listen, there's a plethora of other cards. Killmonger, I don't think is needed because nobody's playing Thanos right now. But either way, 1-cost cards aren't really, we're not worried about that. But my last card is going to be not a tech card. It's more of I said it before, one of the best season pass cards this season. I mean, this year. And that is the one and only Merlin. I think you run Merlin, regardless of what deck you're playing. Merlin is a Swiss Army knife right now that can change a lot of tides in the game. Whether it's that card that allows you to change your lowest cost card to something else. Somebody throwing a rock over there, throwing over a goblin. Yeah, I don't worry about that. It's gone. Somebody wants to play magic and you want to surprise them on that final turn. Yep, we're turning that off right now. Okay? That other thing that also buffs Merlin and gives you additional energy. Again, I think all that is fantastic. I think Merlin is one of the cards that you should have in your deck regardless of what you're playing, because Merlin is that Swiss Army knife. Like how Nico is, I still like Merlin better. And again, because of all those special abilities that you can then control when you want to play it, right? Versus with Nico, you have to wait to see what she becomes. But with Merlin, you have those spells in your hand, or you get that spell in your hand, you could play it when you're ready. And I think Merlin is one of those cards that I don't know if we're going to see a lot of this season. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of it this tournament. But if you listen to this podcast, did you already submit your decks? You may have already.
Possibly.
Well, you know what? Sorry for you. I hope you got Merlin in your deck, because I think Merlin is going to be one of those cards that is great when it comes to a tournament setting. Wow. All right, listen, that wrapped up our 4 cards each. That was a great one, man. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that was good.
We should do more of that. I think people want to hear what decks we think are great, what decks are good to bring on ladder, what's great on Conquest. Speaking of that, have you gone Infinite yet?
I'm close. I'm at 95.
Oh, look at that. I didn't even get there yet. I'm at 83 still. You went, you did go Infinite last season. You did mention that, so that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did you even try to play Conquest? So we just...
What's Conquest?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, I'm sure Guest didn't even touch Conquest mode. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and break down some of these awesome comments we got from last week's episode, which was Grand Arena. Is it now perfect? All right. So we had some awesome comments here, and we kicked things off with somebody basically saying, buff Infinite, make him a 630. I just got to say it because I don't think that'll ever happen. That's kind of crazy.
Stay in front of the microphone. The audience doesn't like when you turn that way.
My bad.
There's a sexy voice.
My bad, everybody. Yeah, my bad, everybody. Yeah. Somebody said, is it Tapocalypse? Said to buff Infinite, make him a 630. We don't need to see that. Even though I love it, I don't think it's going to happen. All right. So we also have Trucking saying, Grand Arena is great, y'all. Y'all are great. I always look forward to these podcasts. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Thank you very much. We love the love.
Do you think Grand Arena was the most successful launch of a limited time game mode Second Dinner's ever had?
Yes. I was only thinking about the first High Voltage in comparison with it. Because if I had to rank it before Grand Arena, I would say High Voltage, the first original High Voltage was number 1. I like Sanctum a lot, number 2, Deadpool, number 3. And now with Grand Arena, it's a fight. I'm going to say yes, because of what I like the most about that mode, minus getting only 10 whatever at the end of the game if you win. The game itself, what I like the most about it is each turn you get additional power and there's no snapping. You know what I mean? That was something different compared to what we're normally used to. So for me, I like that a lot. Why I like Sanctum second is because I do like that mini game within the game. All right, I got to win this lane. All right, I got to win this lane. Okay, maybe I'm not going to take that win because I'm going to put my card here because I'm hoping next turn I have to win this lane to go forward. You know what I mean? To get the energy, whatever. So I like Sanctum second. Original High Voltage third, Deadpool last. So yes, I think this is definitely the best limited time game mode release they've had thus far.
Yeah, I think it was very smooth. Very smooth between, value in the shop, options, choice of gameplay, amount of minimum gameplay to get one of the cards, option to get the second, but not aggressive on trying to unlock it, like unreasonable amounts. I think it was a much better release than past incidents. And they're evolving the right way with these limited time game modes.
Yes,
I don't think it's perfect, but it's
no.
Definitely in the right direction. And even the premium pass being 1,200 gold, so a premium variance worth, being mostly boosters and just expedition exclusively.
Yeah.
A little bit of reward in there, but nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy. No.
I thought it, as someone who has preached pay to accelerate, that's exactly what that was. And it felt like it was a good balance for what the game wants to do, which is, keep you engaged for a long period of time, but also give you a reasonable option to accelerate if you want to.
Right.
Without, breaking your bank either.
Correct. No, I totally agree. My only gripe was I think we needed more than 10. I think we should have got at least 25. I would have felt better if you want to match, because that gave it the grind. It was super grindy at some point. But again, I was only trying to get the 5 variants, I would say. I didn't get Matt Thinker, of course, but I was able to do it. But again, it just took time, right? And that's the best part about this being a mobile game, because you can play it anywhere, especially on the throne. So if you got time to kill on the throne, you just and then of course we left out the most important thing about this whole Grand Arena, and that was the heroes. Like, that was a cool addition to Snap. I definitely enjoyed that, and I do hope the game mode comes back every season. I do hope some point we can get that mode intertwined with the game on a regular basis, like it's there all the time. Or make that mode available in battle mode, right? Could you imagine a Grand Arena tournament? Like, I think that would be huge, right? Because now you take out the whole Snap mechanic piece, and it's just a matter of, hey, win your game, right? Just win your game. So whatever the case may be. But no, I totally agree. I think I definitely enjoy that mode, and by the comments here, a lot of people do as well. So I'm just going to talk about this last one here. We did ask them what's people's top 5 most hated cards in Snap. And Beta Red Bill Lover said Juggernaut, Negasonic, which are the 2 that we mentioned earlier, Gambit, Mercury, and Cannonball. Okay.
Do you think Mercury Cannonball is at a place in the meta that it needs to be addressed in some way? Is it too oppressive?
Nope, not at all.
Really?
I think right now, yeah, because I barely see it, to be honest. I think Mercury Cannonball is kind of getting to where Stature and Black Ball is. It was hot when it was hot, and I don't see it that much right now. And I think that's because of, like you mentioned before, the way things are being played. The big cards, especially end of turn, is not happening until after the game is over, right? So Cannonball destroying one of your cards that are there, that doesn't matter. It is what it is. I think I haven't seen it a lot. So for me, I think it's not a problem. Like I said, it was a problem a season or so ago, but as of right now, I haven't seen it in the meta like that. Now, you may see it all the time, or you may think differently, but I think at this point, I think Mercury Cannonball is totally fine. Look, remember Scream was an issue? Where's Scream now?
Nerfed.
Yeah, but nerfed not that bad where we just forget Scream.
Same with Black Bolt Stature, though. They nerfed 1 power off of all 3 of those cards. And it controlled them.
Okay, so you're saying we need to nerf this? We need to nerf this combo? What are we nerfing first, the power or the ability?
Power.
So Cannonball needs to go to like a 5/6?
Yeah.
That's a fair. I like that anyway. That's a fair adjustment.
If Juggernaut can exist at 3/3, Cannonball can exist at 5/6.
That's a fair assessment. I agree. But do we think that still stops it? Because it's not the power that really bothers me. It's the ability, right? Turning another card into a rock.
I do think it stops it. I really do.
Okay.
Because
right.
It removes the luxury of the knockout option being a equally valuable option. If you're just playing down your Cannonball on turn 5 just to knock something out because you didn't draw your Mercury, it's still removing power and then adding 8 to that lane. Power. That's substantial of a power swing. It's just like Shang-Chi, right? As a 4/3, removing 10, adding 3. It's a 13 power minimum swing in that lane.
Right.
Cannonball's doing similarly, and it's hitting the bigger card every time. So it's a 5 cost, and more often than not, it's hitting something out of the lane that's at least a 6 power card. So that's a 14-point swing for 5 cost. That's minimum. That's huge. I think there's more than enough space to
make him a 6
in his current kit to make him a 5/6.
No, I think that's fair. And speaking of that, before we wrap up, we left out some cards in that top 4 to bring to the tournament because we didn't bring up any type of defensive cards, right? No armor, no Kyra, no we just say Cannonball Mercury just wins the tournament. Shang-Chi just wins the tournament. Like, we didn't think about any of that. We just said, hey, locations stop them from doing honor reveals, then fine. But yeah, what about bringing armor or Kyra to the deck, to the tournament? Right? What about that? All right, now before we go, I want you guys to leave in a comment down below what decks you feel or archetypes won't make it in the tournament. Right? We're not going to see a Khazar deck, are we? No, we're not going to see the Zoo decks, do you think?
No, but I do expect to see some obscure decks. No, I shouldn't say obscure, but I expect to see some popular decks that we know are good on ladder, but won't be good in the tournament, like Cerebro
Galactus.
2.
Oh, Galactus, yeah. Okay. I'm with you.
You know what I mean?
Will we see a Galactus? Yeah, chat. Let us know what decks you feel we won't see this weekend. And make sure you guys are there 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to go ahead and show some love and support for the Snap community in general. You're going to see some amazing gameplay, some amazing casting from all the wonderful casters we have on board. We got Parry, we got Gregar, we got Pulse Glazer, we got, of course, KM Guess, and, of course, Husky Puppies. This is going to be phenomenal. I can't wait. I'm excited. Listen, I know you guys know me for sleeping on stream. We can't sleep. I'm not sleeping at all tomorrow night. I'm going to be, but not tomorrow. See? Yeah, it is tomorrow because as you're watching this, it's the next day. That's right. So I'm going to be pumping, excited for the 9th. And yeah, that's all I got. Guess anything you want to say before we head out?
Oh, I hope that you all enjoy watching all of the clips and the playback and the feedback from Golden Gauntlet this weekend, because we understand that this is not an ideal time period for many players, but it is a ideal time period for many players. Just remember that much. You know, we have 2 other events happening before the World Championship, one next month and one the month after that. I expect to see a huge influx over those events compared to this, which is a smaller market in comparison.
Right.
I full well expect to see, once again, thousands of people registering, trying for their chance to win the Golden Gauntlet. And if you can't participate and you can't watch it live, support your content creator community who will be talking about it afterwards. They'll be doing deck guides. They'll be doing interviews. They'll be doing recaps. They'll be doing meme shorts. They'll be doing everything. And I can't tell you how valuably important, if that's even a word, it is for us as a creator community that you reinforce what Golden Gauntlet is doing for Marvel Snap. And if you do support this game, we hope to see you support the Golden Gauntlet.
That's right. All right, everybody. Peace.